I never gave up. Just fight for everything they got. Miracles happen. About 26 years ago, I was diagnosed with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is a genetic disease which has no cure. It was a slow progression of sickness, and I slowly got worse and worse until I came down to the point where I was on oxygen, and I started to experience liver and kidney failure. I would go into AFib, what they call atrial fibrillation, and the only way they could get me out of atrial fibrillation was they blast you with the paddles, which stops your heart, and then your heart would start again. I would beg them to do it, and I actually got to a point where I'd go in an emergency room and they would blast me with the paddles, and I would be on the job the next day working. And we called it shock and go. It was like a pit stop. And my heart stopped on the job. I was asystolic. I was clinically dead for 25 minutes. And they rushed me to the hospital and brought me back to life. I was in a coma for several days. And that was the end of my career as a carpenter. I think seeing my wife, so worried, I think that was the toughest part for me. As you get sicker, it's just, I don't know how to describe it, but you accept it. I was already ready to die. I wound up in Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. At that point, they told me that I had only days left to live, and that I would get a heart transplant or I would die in that hospital. In my 11th hour, some brave and generous woman, 23-year-old woman, gave me what has to be the greatest gift that any one person can give to another. She gave me her heart. Her name was Shakana Greer. She was a 23-year-old woman who lived in West Orange, New Jersey, not too far from my son, and she died giving birth to her first child, which is a tragedy. You feel guilty that you lived and she died, and then on top of it, you feel as if, well, now this 24-year-old Todd is in your chest and you're a 54-year-old man, so you can't let yourself go down, And I made a deal with myself that if anything went wrong, it wasn't going to be my fault. I've dedicated my life to taking care of myself for that reason, and also to raise money and to raise awareness for organ donation. We have a Watch Health fundraiser that's an auction, open auction. We have our bicycle ride, which raises a lot of money. We raised $39,000. We have the triathlon team. We had 28 people on our team, and we were raising in the 30,000 area, I like to believe that somewhere along the line that we've saved some lives with what we do. I know that someday I'm going to talk to my donor, and just how do you thank somebody for something like that,